I'm happy to take one more question, even if it.
Okay. All right. If you could give one piece of advice or one piece of knowledge to new parents or teachers of autistic kids, what would you tell them?
One thing I would tell them is that I would tell them a couple of different things. One thing is that the way that your kid or the child in your class is when they're 5 is not necessarily going to be the way that they're going to be when they're 40. You know, every neurotypical kid, that is the understanding. Oh, maybe they'll develop, you know. And speaking to people like Temple Grandin and John Elder Robeson and many, many autistic adults, they developed a lot of social skills on their own non-neurotypical schedule. You know, the milestones for autistic people are different than the milestones for neurotypical people.
Throw it out the window.
Yeah, exactly. Throw out the neurotypical map. The other thing I would say, and this is really important, is that one of the most important things I think you can do as a parent or a teacher or a clinician is to read the words of autistic people themselves. And there are excellent books out there. For instance, since we were talking about racial issues earlier, there's a book, there's an anthology called All the Weight of Our Dreams, which is a book about
on our list.
Right, exactly. And there are many, many books now. I mean, it's practically a burgeoning industry of books by autistic people. Read those books. Furthermore, make sure that if we're talking about a young person, that they have access to autistic adults. Just let them hang out with autistic adults. And people say, well, you know, my child is not like Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin was not like Temple Grandin when she was 10. You know, I have seen the boy in my book, Leo Rosa, the boy who loves green straws, who is, you know, not very verbal, hang out with one of my favorite autistic people, this guy named Stephen Shore. He's awesome. They had a connection together, you know, that I would never have been able to have with either one of them. And I've seen that over and over again. Young autistic people need autistic adults around for peer mentoring, because how else is an autistic kid going to have any hope for his or her own future unless they meet autistic adults who have good lives and who have figured out how to get through this horrible society that we've built for them, you know? So I think
there was a mentorship, like a big brother, big sister program for that, nationwide or worldwide for our smaller kids to have access to those adults. That would be amazing.
And also, you know, one of the most hopeful developments that I've seen in the last few years is neurodiversity groups on campuses and in workplaces, so that even people who are not yet comfortable with disclosing can at least disclose to their non-neurotypical peers and get support. And I think that's a very encouraging thing. If you have if you're teaching a psychology class, instead of, you know, reading psychology papers about autism in the class, bring in an autistic adult or 5 and have them talk about what it's really like to be autistic and the challenges that they face.
And because the problem is the misinformation is still being spread throughout the colleges, throughout for the grad schools, the doctoral programs. I mean, they still have seriously outdated information. I see grad students all the time doing projects, and it makes me cringe when I see some of the things that they're posting about.
Yeah, I have to say, it's kind of amazing to me. Like, you know, for instance, one of the things I write about in the book is that one of Asperger's Jewish college. Oh yes, ICANN Network. I love the ICANN Network in Australia. A fantastic group for peer mentoring of autistic people. I've done at least one event with them.
Here.
They're awesome. Well, they're in Australia, but you know, we have groups here too. So yes, I would say that the two things I would say to parents are A, don't lose hope or develop a limited conception of what your child is capable of, and allow your children to have access to other autistic people in the autistic community. Those are the two very powerful bits of advice that I would give.
Thank you.
Thank you.